Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about 4 common branding mistakes and how to fix them. If you're new here, my name is Kelsey. I make videos all around graphic and brand design, and I love showing behind the scenes as well as plenty of tips and tricks. So thanks so much for being here. I have 4 different sections we're going to walk through today. They're going to all be labeled down below, so if you want to jump around, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we are just going to jump in right into the first section. My iPad right down here, so I will be referencing this throughout the video. First up though, we're talking about the mistake of being inconsistent with your brand. You need to be consistent in everything you do. That should be just something that's rooted in across all of your different marketing aspects and then also your product aspects as well. You need to have the same kind of look, messaging, and overall feeling that your audience will develop from looking at your brand and any type of experience that they're receiving it. The goal is to have your consumer be able to see your brand without needing to know the logo on it, to just know when they look at your product that that is by you. Once they see a social media post, that that is your brand, to have that authenticity that is so unique to yourself as a brand that someone could pick you out without having, again, your name or your logo on something. Now, that's not to say never to use your name or logo, because you should. Of course you should, especially as people are just getting to know you. But the goal is to have a look that feels different than your competitors, feels different than other brands, and it is something that your audience really resonates with. Staying consistent is accomplished through a variety of items. It comes down to having a style guide that you live and breathe by, having messaging that is strong across your platform. You're sounding the same in your tone and approach on any of your marketing pieces, and just having brand assets that you'll be utilizing across the board and not popping in a random new design element. Having this consistency will develop trust with your audience, whether they know it or not. They will know what to expect from you, which can be a really great thing, and they also will just know that you are staying true to them as a consumer and putting that above everything else. How to fix this? Again, having that style guide to live and breathe by. You can get one of these by working with a brand designer like myself, or you can also just start with the bare bones for you to have something to do. So I would stick with having consistent colors and fonts that you're using across the board, and then also consistent patterns. It's great to develop a mood board. I have a video about how to create a mood board when it comes to branding, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't seen it. But at the end of the day, is making that mood board that has that energy that you want your client to be feeling when they look at your brand. And then that will also including your different brand colors and elements that you use throughout your brand. Mistake number 2, not knowing your target audience. Knowing your target audience is so important because you need to understand who you are talking to. You need to literally be able to picture them, because if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. I'm sure you've heard that before, but it is extremely important when you are creating your brand materials. You'll kind of see that all these different 4 sections that we're talking through today will be playing into each other because they're all super important. But of course, having that inconsistency also relates to not knowing your audience. When you are creating your brand and creating elements within your branding, you need to picture a crowd and directly think about who you're looking at. So that is nailing down what your consumers like, what they dislike, brands they shop, where they shop, that locations where they live throughout the world, how they shop. Do they shop online? Do they shop from their phone? Do they shop in person? How that is looking. Do they like fast shipping and ordering? What that is all looking like, and just their also family status. Are they single? Are they married? Do they have kids? Are they separated? Are they really great with friendships? Whatever that is looking like. And then also their employment status as well. So maybe they have a certain income threshold. You need to be able to understand what your income of your consumer is as well. It's also really important to identify pain points that they might have throughout their day. So that could look like how they shop. Maybe they live in a rural area and they don't have super great access to stores that hold a variety of items. Maybe they just have their regular grocery store and things like that. So you might want to have a great delivery system and some sort of aspect when it comes to that. It could even be as simple as thinking about your shipping. You're gonna prioritize having free shipping for your consumer. That all goes into your branding as well. How to fix this is I would look at creating a brand persona. Usually between 3 to 4 is a great reference to have. You could create this on a Google slide. It could be that simple. I would go ahead and find reference photos. You can use Unsplash for this. You could even use Pinterest and find photos, and this is just something that you're keeping behind the scenes as well, so it's just internal. So making that slideshow and then listing all those different elements that I just talked about a minute ago. So going through and creating that list and having a persona per slide and listing those out. That it could be as simple as that, just so you have a reference point, just so you know who you're talking about. And it could be something that you don't reference too often, but as long as you did it at least once, then you have that tool already ingrained in you and you've done that exercise that will allow you to successfully move forward in this area. The third mistake is forgetting your why. When you're thinking about why you are creating this brand, it has to be beyond making money. Maybe that is your initial reason. I mean, everyone wants to have an income. You need to have an income to live. So it's obviously a huge aspect, but your brand has to have a larger life than that, a larger personality. Basically, as consumers grow older and as the generations become consumers as well, people are prioritizing what the brand's overall purpose is. They want to know what your mission statements are. They want to know what you believe in, what you value, what you stand when it comes to giving back, when it comes to environment issues. Those are extremely important issues, and they're only going to continue to be more important. We've seen this a great deal across a lot of brands. We've seen it in the Tom's campaign. They were the very first ones to kind of start that idea, as well as in Bombas, where they do the 1-for-1 campaign. A lot of brands are creating their product around environmental issues. So brands like Girlfriend Collective, they have a whole sustainability section that creates a transparency on what they believe when it comes to their environment impact and their overall footprint on the earth. So those are just a couple examples to consider when you are thinking about your overall brand. You can fix this by creating that clear messaging. So go ahead and write out your mission statement. Go ahead and write out different values that you believe as a company. I wouldn't create too many. I would just stick between 3 to 5 and have those labeled out so you know them. This is also something that could be great to share as well. You can share these on your Instagram. You can definitely share these on your website and just make them well known so consumers know what you are believing in. It is also great to take this a step further and add on your website a transparency page. So you could add this in your footer. It could be about the environment and your give back in that area, what that looks like as a company. Maybe you are working towards a goal for the future of a certain sustainability effort when it comes to your shipping. Maybe you are working towards a certain reduced energy level when it comes to your product being created in factories. Those are all great points to consider. Even if you are just a service-based business, it would even be wonderful to share how much you are giving back to nonprofits or you are supporting your local community as well. The fourth and final mistake is having your brand be completely DIY. This one obviously is so close to me because I am a brand and graphic designer, so I am all about creating that strong brand strategy and having it be apparent throughout all of your marketing materials, which I understand is a large ask to do right at the start of your project. Once you're creating this brand, there are so many startup costs when it comes to starting a business. So this is one that often gets to be DIY'd, which can be okay temporarily. It's obviously best if you can just do it from the start and have a strong brand foundation right away. But sometimes you do have to just have those colors and those type choices that you are living by in the beginning. But I would make a plan to work with a brand designer at some point. As consumers become more and more apparent with the experience of the brand and their overall look and feel, it is important to consider that throughout your project. It can't be a DIY solution. I think a lot of people think that they can just create a graphic design piece, but when it comes down to, there is a lot of strategy around it. It's thinking about the fundamentals of a artistic perspective in it to create a strong foundation. It's thinking about that brand strategy, so the audience, but even so much more about your overall brand goals, what you want your client to be feeling, your consumer to be feeling, what they need to get out of your brand, and your goals for your future. So there are so many elements here that it is so important to work with a brand designer. A lot of times brand designers will offer payment plans, which is really great, especially for someone that's starting a business. Most brand designers are trying to meet you as best they can. And so it's always great to just have a conversation around. That's my take on it. I'm always happy to give more information and more insight on this as well, so feel free to comment or message me on Instagram if you ever need any more details or questions to be answered. I would definitely recommend staying away from purchasing pre-made logos and brand materials, because part of working with a brand designer is to create something that is unique just to you. Again, going back to our very first point, and having a look and feel that is so unique to you that someone would be able to pick you out of a crowd or out of the Instagram feed or your website without your logo on it, whatever it be, just knowing that you are true and 100% unique. There are also a lot of legal aspects when it comes to branding, when it comes to fonts and logos and things like that, and also just using elements on Canva. So that is so important to be aware of, that people don't necessarily know. Canva is a great resource though to use for your small business, so you definitely do that. But when it comes to your core branding pieces, it's not necessarily the best solution to go about. So how to fix it? Of course, work with a brand designer. I would love to work with you, so let me know if you are ever interested. You can always submit an inquiry form on my website and we can chat there. Otherwise, I would just recommend finding a designer on Instagram that resonates with your brand. Get to know that designer's work and see if that fits in to the kind of style and approach of your brand that you're looking for. It's so important to get comfortable with the designer beforehand, because that is going to tend to be the direction that your project will be headed as well. And that's a wrap on the 4 common branding mistakes that I see or recommend to stay away from. I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, again, I'm an open book. I would love to chat through them, so go ahead and send me a message or drop a comment. If you're new to my channel, I would love it if you stuck around and subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.